there was a lack of effective overall command that day.
Committee is reporting multiple systemic failures in the response to the tragic shooting in Uvalde. The 77-page report comes nearly 1 month after 19 students and 2 teachers were killed at Robb Elementary.
The committee's report highlights 3 major areas of concern: the shooter's family not recognizing the warning signs, a school district that did not follow a safety plan, and police response. The report says nearly 400 law enforcement officers responded to the scene. A majority of the officers were from either state or federal agencies. The report outlines 149 officers were from Border Patrol, 91 were from DPS, 25 from the Uvalde Police Department, and just 5 officers from the Uvalde School District. The rest of the officers were from multiple other agencies.
Now, part of today's update was a release of body cam videos.
And we want to warn you, some of the video you're about to see is disturbing. Here's Elise Preston.
Newly released body cam videos from the Uvalde Police Department shows officers staked out around Robb Elementary School. You can hear the shooter firing at officers and at least one officer expressing the need to get into the classroom where the gunman was holed up.
We got to get in there.
Eventually, 376 officers, local, state, and federal, arrived on the scene, according to a new report by the Texas House Committee investigating the shooting. The investigation found they waited 77 minutes before moving in to take out the shooter, lacking clear leadership, basic communications, and prioritizing their own safety over saving innocent lives.
And they should have done more, acted with urgency. Try the door handles, try to go in through the windows, try to distract him.
The 3 members of the investigating committee released their findings in a meeting with families of the victims, 19 students and 2 teachers. Their 77-page report found the shooter fired about 100 rounds in the first 3 minutes. But the report suggests some could have survived if they had not had to wait so long for rescue.
They're a joke. They got no business wearing a badge.
Vincent Salazar, the grandfather of 4th grader Layla Salazar, obtained his report but did not stay for the meeting due to his distrust of local public officials and handling of the investigation. So far, much of the blame has been put on Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo for his role as incident commander. But investigators suggest there were plenty of better trained and better equipped officers who didn't step up and could have contributed to the loss of life. Some family members who attended the meeting left feeling dissatisfied.
Accountable needs to say, hey, I'm wrong. You're right. I was there. I did nothing to serve and protect y'all.
Following the report's release, Uvalde's acting chief of police the day of the shooting was placed on administrative leave. Elise Preston, CBS News.
From the moment school employees found out about the gunman on campus, the House Committee found technology delayed the lockdown alert and not all teachers were notified. The committee learned poor Wi-Fi connectivity delayed the lockdown alert that the principals sent out to teachers. Not all teachers received it, including the teacher in room 111 who survived the shooting but had multiple students perish. Even with the faulty technology, no one used the school intercom as another way to communicate the lockdown. Officials also found there was a recurring problem with maintaining the school's doors and locks. The committee said there was a, quote, regrettable culture of non-compliance with safety policies requiring the doors to be kept locked.
When I talked about the false sense of security, I do not believe that Uvalde Consolidated or Robb Elementary is the only school with these issues in it. I've talked to enough other educators around the state to believe this is a wider problem that we need to continue to look at.
The committee is now urging every district throughout Texas to study this report and identify lessons to learn. Families of the victims have been demanding answers from the city since day one.
And with today's report, families were only left angry.
That's their job, to go in there regardless if they have only guns. How about those kids in there, including my great-granddaughter? They didn't have but colors and pencils. And they call themselves officers of the law and that they protect. They don't protect nothing. They're cowards.
Now, that was the great-grandfather of Alexandria Rubio. He says he wants the city to get rid of all law enforcement that was there the day that his great-granddaughter died. While Uvalde police and the district police face lots of criticism today, other school districts are stepping up their plans to make sure this does not happen again.
This week, the new police chief for Pleasanton ISD sponsored a regional 2-day course on active shooter training. After the outrage of 77 minutes of inaction in the Uvalde massacre, we asked one of the instructors if they were teaching bravery to face down an active shooter and the importance of officers taking immediate, effective action.
Our training is there to respond, not to hesitate. Trust in your capabilities, trust in your training, trust in your equipment. Go in there. Our main operational goal is to stop any threat, control and neutralize that threat. We want to make sure that we don't have more victims. So here the training is that we're preparing our law enforcement to respond, not to hesitate, to make sure they engage.
The new school year starts in Pleasanton on August 9th. The new police chief says he wants parents to feel comfortable and confident that they will be prepared to keep their kids safe.